When I create animations for my students, I often want to create some kind of a cartoonish type background. I got some trees, I've got some hills, and I got that nice blue background. The question is, where do these colors come from? I actually don't necessarily make these colors up at random. I actually create a swatch of colors, like a set of greens, a set of blues, or a set of browns. So let me explain in this video how I come up with those colors. I go over to Adobe Color at color.adobe.com. And I use this site as my means to locate colors. I go to the Adobe Color page, I click Explore, I look for like grass, green. I peruse through the kind of greens that work for me. So then once I say that's the color that I want, click on the palette, and that brings up the full palette. It's the green in the middle. Click on Create Using Theme. As I take that green, and I'm going to copy it under each column, making every one of these columns that same shade of green. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to manipulate that color of green. I come back over here and I type HSB. H stands for hue. That's the color that we're working with. The S stands for how much color. That's the saturation. And then the letter B, that's what I'd predominantly manipulate in these cases here. B stands for brightness. So I'm going to manipulate the brightness throughout. So we'll start by making this brightness over here on the far right super high. So it's a super bright green. And then I'm going to dock it 20 points each time as I move down. So this next one is going to be 80, then 60, obviously 40, and then 20. I've got a full palette of green, and I started with the green that I wanted. So now the nice thing about Adobe Color is it has a way to test this color palette against the exposure to people who are colorblind. It turns out that 1 in 12 people globally are colorblind. And you know, I hate to have a lesson plan that's color-based, and then I have kids in my class who, you know, they can't distinguish the colors. Adobe Color gives you a way to test this out. Right over here, it says check for accessibility. I'm going to click on that. And it says right here, no conflicts found on the swatches here. So this is a colorblind safe choice of colors. But let me show you what happens if you don't choose the right color. Let me just take this color in the middle here, and I'm going to change that brightness close to the one right next to it. 70, 75. You see these two greens here, they're pretty close. Now it says there's a conflict here. In color C and D, they're in conflict, and kids won't be able to tell them the difference. So what I found through my experience is that change the brightness in degrees of 20 in terms of finding values that are great for the kids. Let me bring this back to the 60. I have created a location in my Creative Cloud for EME 6208. I'm going to save this palette. I'll call it Green Grass and save it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the sky blue. Looks like I found a great set of blues that I can use for the sky. I'm going to save it darker, sky blue. Switch over to my Creative Cloud and you can see these swatches that I just saved. Okay, and there you go. You can see that I've got the two different palettes for the blue. That's how I pick my colors, and then I manipulate the colors as a suite, and then I make sure that they satisfy the requirements with regards to accessibility for children who may be colorblind. I hope this helps you in the future.